The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
1420 Sports Bar Podcast, for beer of the sports talk and a whole lot more. Join host Brent Radlinsky as he bellies up to the bar and gets the conversations going that'll make you think you're sitting in your local watering room. It's sports, beer, and shenanigans, so sit back, grab a few beers, and let's get into it. The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, for beer of the sports talk and a whole lot more. Today's show, as always, is brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code BELLYUP over there at SeatGeek and get yourself save yourself $20 on your first purchase. Remember, we are part of that Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com for all their great articles and podcasts. And thanks to everybody who listens to the show. Make sure you like, subscribe, and all that jazz to make sure you don't miss up on any content that we put out on a daily basis. We are joined, been a long time. We are joined by the man, the myth, the legend himself, the captain, real Captain Lou Gamelin. Lou, how you been? It was a summer away from each other for the first time in a long time. How's things, man?
Oh, Brent, everything's great. It's we're at the three-quarter pole, if you will, when it comes to Major League Baseball Labor Day, and that means we're in the stretch drive. And like I said just before we came on, it's nice to have a relevant team going into September in the Tigers. So it's an exciting time for me. How about you?
I'm good. Had a busy summer again with the baseball team, and things didn't finish up like we hoped there, but it was a lot of fun as well. Got to be involved with that for another summer. But before we start talking baseball, Lou, I watched your show today earlier on. You were talking about instant replay and targeting and the Michigan situation on Saturday night, and if you want to give a Coles Nose version of what you saw compared to what the rest of the world saw, or what the officiating crew saw, more importantly, what's your thoughts on the way, how long it takes in these replays? Because to me, they like when you're looking for trouble, you'll find it, but if it takes you a long time, it wasn't really trouble, and that's the way it seemed to me with that play on Michigan on Saturday.
Well, it's funny is I try not to be too much of a homer because, I'm a Michigan guy. Everybody knows that. And I didn't think it was targeting. Now, I think it could have warranted roughing the passer or unnecessary roughness. I get that. It was a bad hit. But he did not lead with his helmet. The guy he hit the quarterback's helmet with his chest. And it was a vicious hit. I get it. My issue with it, Brent, and it's not just in the Michigan game, that LSU game against Clemson, when they overruled the touchdown reception, you can slow-mo a replay 100 times to Tuesday, and you can find something wrong. I mean, the ball may have moved ever so slightly. It was a catch. The guy's hand was underneath it. I mean, you can find anything. And it's like I was telling my brother-in-law this afternoon, my problem with instant replay is it's still, you've got the human element and there's a subjective point to it. And as long as that's going to happen, you're going to screw somebody. And I've always been an opponent of instant replay ever since it came about, almost 40 years ago now. And I understand people make mistakes. I like how they're thinking about going to the robot umpiring for balls and strikes only to challenge it because it took 5 seconds in the All-Star game. That's my issue with replay. It takes so doggone long, and it's like they're looking for something to change it or whatever. And then the game last night, when that beautiful catch that Miami made in the first half, and they must have looked at it for 5 minutes before they finally said they upheld the call. I can't stand that. Why not just do it for pass interference and everything else if you're going to do that? So I don't know what the answer is without taking the referees and the umpires away, but whatever they're doing, especially in college football, Brent, it just seems like it's taken an exorbitant amount of time, and to me, it takes away from the game.
That's what I hate about it, Lou, is like I said earlier, like when we first started going on that, like if you keep looking for something, eventually you'll find something. Yeah. And it just takes away from the game. And why have officials at all then?
Right.
If they're going to be going upstairs, if it takes you that long, then what are you looking for? Yep, no, maybe. So why have officials for anything ever? It's ridiculous that it takes that long. And they're by the time the referee walks over to the headset, looks at it once, there should be someone in his ear saying yes, no, mate, and that's it. And that's how quick it should be. It's not debatable. Like this isn't I say, like when I umpire, this isn't a democracy. Like, this is just what it is. It's
Yeah.
out, safe, done, problem solved. Like,
Well,
it should be that easy. And a hand here, a hand there, and then it just like, okay, like if you had to look at that roughing the passer, which I agree, maybe roughing the passer because he hit him well, like, but that was 10 years ago. Even that was a clean hit.
yeah,
These receptions, and you just go, it's a catcher. It wasn't his foot's in, his foot's out. It's not. We're not. We're not splitting atoms here.
I know.
And like you look at how tennis, I mean, it's a different sport altogether, but how tennis in, out, they're done before the ball boy even has a ball back in the server's hand.
Yeah.
It's a different animal, but figure it out, figure a way to do it.
Well,
With
it's funny, Brent, too, that I don't know when it was it 10 to 15 years ago when the NFL, they went, after a while with the replay, they put in this rule where if they couldn't come up with anything in 90 seconds, then the call stood. End of story. And I know they haven't really done that lately, but college needs to do something like that, either 60 or 90 seconds. If you can't figure it out, boom, the call stands. They all even out. I don't care. You know, you and I have been watching sports a long, long time.
Yeah.
The bad calls even out no matter where you go. And it's always going to be part of the game. I get it. But if you're going to try to do something to fix it, then make sure you get it right. I don't know. I like I said, I've never been a huge proponent of instant replay. And it's ever since the Calvin Johnson rule with the catches, I've always had a bad taste in my mouth with it. And this weekend, it didn't take away from the really good college games we had this weekend, but it sure does seem to rear its ugly head every week. We're always, complaining about instant replay or one thing or another. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
Like, I don't understand why it has to be so perfect. Like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with sports just being a bit imperfect, and just
Right.
let it like it. And I was on the show yesterday discussing this, and is it because of betting? Like, is
Has to
that
be.
the reason? I don't know. Like, is that the reason why they have to make sure that everything is fine tooth comb, CSI,
Yeah.
Law and Order, whatever it might be? Like, is that the reason? Is there things like that? Is it because of the money's so big? And I don't know. It's just it stinks to high heck at times. But one thing that doesn't stink is Lou, second overall in baseball completely.
Yeah.
Your Detroit Tigers, first in the American League. The playoffs will start today. They'd be the first seed going in. That's got to be a good feeling compared to years past. Last year, playoff team, obviously, but having a 9.5 game lead in the first September is never a bad thing.
Boy, I'll tell you what, it's been a long time since we could say that here in the Detroit area. It's been 2014 since they won the division when they got swept by the Orioles in the opening round. No, it's exciting, Brent. I had a chance to go watch them play the Cubs earlier this year down in Comerica, and it's a nice vibe down there in Detroit right now. And Detroit's like everybody else, Brent. Like your Yankees, like the Red Sox, everybody. They're up and down. I mean, there's no lock right now in Major League Baseball. Charlie Morton today, he got rocked. He threw that mistake to Soto for that 1-2 pitch or whatever.
Yeah.
And now Detroit, they've so far been able to tie it up. But Charlie Morton, he's up and down. Tariq Skubal's been great, obviously. It's going to come down to the relief pitching, I think, with the Tigers. And Scott Harris, as much as he got berated and just belittled about not making that marquee trade at the deadline, to me, he's made the best trade in the playoff or in the regular season at the deadline, getting Finnegan, because Finnegan hasn't given up a run, and that's looking like aces right now for Detroit. And so, if they can go 500 in September, they'll have 92 wins. They've got a tough schedule. They've got your Yankees next week in the Bronx.
They finish up with Boston, I
Oh
think,
my
and then they
God,
got a
yeah.
couple series with Cleveland, if I was checking the schedule. So it's not a cakewalk, but it's
No,
something
not
they
at
can
all.
set themselves up. And having a 9.5 game lead is it's like you're not forced if you lose one here or there, whatever. It would be the fallback of epic proportions. They weren't able to close this out, but there's nothing says that they won't. The thing is, with having a lead like that, and then you get a few days off between the wild card round and the divisional round. If they can set Skubal up to be a 1-5 or a game 4 starter. I mean, it didn't go well last year, obviously, in game 5 against Cleveland, but I mean, a year older and another year of experience, and having a guy like that. People laugh at my affection for Charlie Morton, but he just goes out there and he pushes and he plays, and he doesn't throw a million miles an hour, but he's a good pitcher. He's not a thrower; he's a pitcher. And
Yeah.
I think that acquisition's huge.
Oh,
I think it's massive, and how because he's been around the block, been in the playoffs how many times. He's that kind of a guy that'll go out and give you 6 or 7 innings, and why not? And I just think that they got a real good shot, and having a manager like AJ Hinch, that doesn't hurt you at all either.
and Detroit's got probably the best farm system they've had, Brent, since the 70s when they had Gibson and Morris and Whitaker and Trammell and all of that. And for them not to trade one of those pieces with McConaughey or and Max Clark and a couple of their pitchers that they'll have up either next year by the call up time in a year from now. I got to tell you, I thought Harris did all right, and I agree with you with Morton. The one pitch, he had one mistake today, obviously, but he's given them some innings, and I got to tell you, I like him. I think he could be someone that they could turn to in the playoffs if they need him, like if they're up 2-0 or whatever. Flaherty, you know him, he's up and down, and Casey Mize is good. He's had a good year. I like the rotation. It's just again, if they can keep the bullpen going, if they can keep Finnegan doing what he's doing and Will Vest, I think they got a shot at doing some damage. And that 9.5 game cushion is nice to have in September. There's no doubt.
You got a guy that is leading the Tigers in every offensive category imaginable, in Riley Greene, an
Yep.
all-star, does it all. He kind of goes against one of his stats or metrics, whatever they're calling these days, kind of goes against my way of thinking. Batting average of only 270, I think it is, to lead the Tigers. So that's kind of like goes into everything I say, because batting average to me still matters, but whatever. But this guy's having himself a year, and he's only his third or fourth year in the big leagues. Tell us a little bit about Riley Greene and what he's been able to do.
Well, Riley Greene is just, what can you say? He's been clutch for him all year, and he's a halfway decent fielder. And yeah, you're right. He's hitting 270, which it doesn't say a whole lot, but it's funny is I bring up the batting averages for the leaders in all of Major League Baseball, right? Not just the American League. We've got 5 guys at 300.
It's crazy.
Would you, Brent, in your
One
lifetime, would
guy
you
in the
ever
National
imagine
League is
that?
Freddie Freeman. One guy.
Yeah. I've never in my lifetime would imagine that. I mean, this isn't the dead ball era of the 60s. I mean, so it's just the new way of baseball. And he's clutch. He's got 100 RBIs. I mean, to me, that's huge. And, it's nice to have that weapon. I mean, Torkelson's having himself a year. And batting average, not so much. And you know what, Brent, when Baez is hitting around 265, you know that your team is doing pretty good. He had such a great start, and he's playing center field today. So, I mean, yeah, Detroit, things are turning up. They're turning up roses for the Tigers so far.
You got a guy who I kind of think got a raw deal out in New York, in Gleyber Torres. I thought he
Oh,
was I thought he was not as good as Robinson Cano, but Cano-esque kind of a player.
yeah,
I don't think he was as lazy or as talented, but he was that kind of a guy. Gleyber Torres, to me, he needed to get out of New York, and he's kind of been reinvigorated there in Detroit, and just doing his job on a daily basis, and not being under the national eye like it is in New York. And Gleyber Torres is just he's not going to put up 30, 40 home runs or anything else, but man, you got a guy at second base and maybe get you 15 home runs and 80 RBIs. That comes in pretty handy.
boy, it sure does. He's going to hit about 265, 270. He plays just about every day. He's played 125 games. And you're right. He's all business, and he seems to like it there. Whether he stays there next year, Brent, who knows? I mean, I think he's going to warrant a decent long-term deal. And with what Detroit's got coming up in the farm system, I don't know. It all depends where the dollars are going to be, and so. But it's been a great addition. I couldn't be more happier with Gleyber Torres, playing second for the Tigers.
Is it? You hate to say anyone deserves a championship, because everybody thinks that their team deserves one and everything else. It's been a long, long time since the Roar of '84, obviously. But is it time that maybe Detroit got They kind of deserve one because they had some very lean years and it's been tough. And some good ones, like I said, 2014, they were there, but just not relevant. They got to a point of almost being irrelevant. Is it time that Detroit got a shot to win one? Because yeah, I tell you what, you get into you guys got a stud in Scooble.
Yeah.
You get into game 1, 4, and 7, let's say in the World Series. That's 3 wins.
Yeah.
Right? Like are people in Detroit feeling a little bit? Are they like, this team might have a shot this year? And believing it, not like maybe, because I know, like I get it, and you probably do too. You get a little bit hesitant, and you don't want to get too excited. You don't want to get in front of your skis too much. But are the people in Detroit like, hey, this thing's for real? We got a shot here.
I think they are, and despite what you read on social media, but every team's got that on social media where they have 1 or 2 bad innings and they're all ready to jump off the bridge, off the cliff. I think the thought is this is World Series or bust, especially we got Scooble for another year after this. And with Scott Boras as his agent, he's going to go for the moon, and they're not going to sign early. And that's just not their MO with Boras. So I think this is the most excited they've been for Detroit since 2012, when, they went after and got David Price and they just loaded that starting rotation. And they collapsed in 2013 against the Red Sox in that playoff series. I think it's there. The pieces are there. And again, Brent, it's an exciting time to be a Tiger sports fan because there's so much buzz about what they've got coming in the minors with McConnell and Clark to lead the way. I mean, they are rich with talent in Erie, and on their way up to Toledo and then to Detroit. And so the future's bright, with Casey Mize and, some of the other ones pitching in the minor leagues. I think this could be, Detroit fans are ready. They're excited. It's been 41 years since they won the World Series, and it's been 13 since they went to the World Series. So indeed, there's a buzz in Detroit with them and the Lions and, the Pistons and even the Red Wings trying to make a play at it. It is fun being a Detroit sports fan right now.
You talk about Boris and the hold he has over these teams, and I mean, you hate talking money, but that's what it's a business. Let's not sugarcoat this. Like if the Tigers don't get it done, let's just, it's hypothetical. Obviously, podcasts are hypothetical, but if they don't get it done, and let's say Scooble, they say, well, geez, what are we doing here, and how much money? Because he'll hold out, not hold out, but he won't sign, and you wonder why he has that kind of a hold on players. Because if, like, let's just say Scooble wants to stay a Tiger, he likes it there, got a house, whatever he's got going on there, or he's got a condo 3 blocks from Comerica, and walk to the park, whatever, doesn't matter. Like, because an agent is just an employee of the player.
Yeah.
When does the player go, you know what, I just want to stay here? Like if I get 45 year or 40 or 45 million or 48, what's the difference? Like, really big? Like, I know it's $3 million, $3 million more than me and you have, but what's the big deal? Like, why does Boris get this hold on these players? That because it happened with Soto, it's going to happen with Gunnar Henderson, it's going to happen with Scooble, and on and on and on it goes. Like, what's to have to be the highest paid player when in 2 years from now that number won't even matter anymore? Because Lou, when like 20 years ago, you and I would never have thought that someone would have got more than A-Rod at $20 million.
Right.
And now that's just that's nothing. Right? Oh. Like, what does he have on these guys that you need to hold out to get more? Because when's it just too much? Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, that's a great question, and you wonder about that. Okay, he's going to get 40 million. Detroit will offer him that, and they'll say no, let's hold out for 50 or whatever. And I don't know. I mean, you wonder how many of these players. I'm going to use a guy that you just talked about a while ago, Robinson Cano. Mm-hmm. I mean, he left New York to go to Seattle for all that money.
Biggest free agent mistake in my lifetime.
Oh, why did he do that? New York, they've got an open checkbook, and they are always relevant, Always. I mean, they may not win the World Series every year, but they're always there.
The money
And
he could have made it in advertising and
oh
sponsorships and blah blah blah, and and then you go to, and this isn't a hack on Seattle because it's a
no,
global market now, but Seattle's not New York.
no.
That was a big. Lou, I'm glad you brought that. Was the biggest mistake in free agent history that I can remember.
Oh, 100%. And you got the grass isn't always greener, and you would think
Just
some of these
different.
players would. You would think some of these players would realize that $5 million isn't going to make you break you when you're making 35 to 40. And
It better not.
okay, so yeah, let's say you're screwball. Okay, let's say, all right, let me sign for 3 years at 150 million. Then you can go back out in the market when you're 30. I mean, or you've got the player option to opt out like Javi Baez did, and he realized that he had it good in Detroit, so he stayed. I don't know what the answer is. I mean, maybe it's because Boris has a record for getting him, has a track record for getting him all that extra money, and I don't know. It's just the way it goes now, Brent. It's all there's no loyalty in sports. You and I have talked about that on more than one occasion.
Like,
There's just
the thing that bothers me is, like, it's almost like winning has become secondary at a
yeah,
young age.
yeah,
And like when these guys, I don't want to harp on this, but I will. When these guys don't even know what team they're playing for when they're 12, 13, 14 years old because they're playing this perfect game league, this area code league, they don't even
yeah.
know who they're playing for, and wins don't matter, and they're only their stats matter, and wins and losses don't matter. And I've said this before on multiple occasions, Lou. Um, if you get in the Hall of Fame, you got to have some winning to get
Yeah.
in the Hall of Fame. You like stats. There's a few guys who didn't win that get in,
Yeah.
but they don't put how many zeros are in your bank account on your Hall of Fame plaque.
No.
On your Hall of Fame plaque, they say won this World Series, won this MVP, this batting title. That's the stuff that matters, and how it's been brought up at such a young age where winning doesn't matter a whole bunch,
No.
and then now with college sports the way they are with
Oh,
NIL money
oh my
that,
God.
that's an absolute. Like it's funny. Like, I saw something on Twitter the other day. It's not a coincidence once money was getting doled out around the country that Alabama's not winning anymore. It's kind of funny how that kind of works out, right? Because
Yeah.
now you kind of see where all that money was going, and Alabama's in a rough spot losing, but it doesn't break anybody's heart, I don't think, outside the state of Alabama. But yeah, it's just it's different, and I hope Scooble sticks around and you have people that you grew up with in the farm and
Yeah.
you went through some things and how that doesn't stick in your head a little bit because Lou, you and I are both old enough to think that, well, what if Lou Whitaker and Alan Trammell or Kirk Gibson said, you know what, Gibson eventually did, but
Right.
if they would have said after their, because money was a lot different back then, but if they would have said after their first contract, I'm going to go for 20 grand more to play for the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah.
Where's the legacy? Like that's that.
It
Like,
don't
where's
matter.
your legacy?
Legacy's in the wallet. That's it. You're right. It's just a different mindset, and it's one that I can't grasp with a lot of things in sports right now. I love the game. I love all sports, but you've got to, I, you and I think, are a rare breed now. I even see national talk show hosts saying they don't. They follow the player. They're preaching to you to follow the player instead of the team, and that's not how we were
That's
raised.
not it.
And college sports, to me, football and basketball are become ruined because of it. I
Yep.
mean, there's no these kids are going to go in football. They're going to go to 4 different schools in 4 years. It's the highest bidder, and Michigan State's athletic director got fired last year because he was deemed not good enough of a fundraiser for NIL money. And I'm thinking, what the holy hell? That's where we're at right now with sports, and it's been that way in the NFL now. And yeah, it is a shame. I don't want to sound like an old fart, but that's why I'm trying to enjoy this run. Like you said earlier, Detroit, I think, has got to do it now because there's going to be turnovers. If they don't do it in the next year or two, Scooble may be gone, and he's the linchpin right now.
Well, yeah, like when these national guys, like you said, when they're saying you got to follow a player, not a team. I hope I'm going to outlive most of these guys
Yeah,
on their lifespan on these teams, right? So
yeah,
I'm always going to be a fan of my team. Like their players come and go. Like,
yeah.
and it's like your team's your team, and I laugh at that when these players hold out and just go, I'm not signing for this, I'm not signing for that, and they say, well, we lost with you, we'll lose without you. Who cares? Like
Exactly.
you're just an employee, man. That's all you are. And if
Yeah,
you think you're any more than that, you're sadly mistaken, because
yeah.
there's 31 other teams that didn't win last year, and we're part of that. Who was the guy who just got traded last week from the Cowboys?
Oh, Parsons. Yeah,
Parsons, right? He had a contract. I'm not playing for this. I'm not playing for that. If I was Jerry Jones, I'd say we haven't done anything for how long?
yeah.
We haven't done a thing. Like he won't think that because I don't think he's that intelligent. Because
No,
Jones that's a whole other can of worms. That guy, but he could have went, okay, don't play. I don't care. Really, like it's just it's odd. You talk about your the Tigers and the mood around the city is, and then you have, like you said, the Pistons and the Lions. The Lions, they're another one. They're close.
yeah.
They're real close. Do they have a legitimate shot this year? The NFL season starts on Thursday, I think. Yeah, Thursday as the time of this recording. Do they got a shot?
So they've got a shot. This is going to be a true test for them because they've lost both their coordinators from last year. Ben Johnson went to the Bears, and oh gosh, he went to the Jets. His name escapes me already, but they've got two new coordinators, and they've got a brutal schedule this year. It's difficult. And so they've got tough road games against Kansas City, Philadelphia, Washington, the Rams, Baltimore. I mean, so that's part of their road schedule, and so it's going to be difficult. I could see Detroit getting 10 or 11 wins, and after that, it's a crapshoot. They're getting healthy on defense. Obviously last year they were decimated by injuries, so they're healthy on defense. Their offensive line, they lost one of their kingpins. Frank Ragnow retired. He was the linchpin of that offensive line. They've got a couple of young guys to replace them. The kid Rutledge out of Georgia, a second-round pick. I think he's going to be a beast, but he's young. Uh, they've got a shot. I mean, to me, Philadelphia is still the bet until you knock them off to go back to the Super Bowl in the NFC. Everybody's on the San Francisco bandwagon, but I think they're brittle. I mean, it just a gust of wind off the San Francisco Bay and somebody gets hurt out there. So, it's going to be Philadelphia and then whoever can battle to play them in the championship game. I think Detroit will win the division. They're not going to win 15 games, and I don't know if they'll get the number one seed, but I think they'll be right there. They're one of the top four, in my opinion, still in the NFL.
And that's tough. I mean, to stick in year out, and I think the NFL is kind of right for taking a little bit more. I think
Yeah,
that I just think that the immovable force is kind of gone now with the Kansas City Chiefs. So that's
yeah,
kind of it's like, okay, Mahomes is still Mahomes, but there's some chinks in the armor there, so
yeah.
you can't really count on them. And then you how much do you like? There's teams that just aren't going to be very good. And I'm on the show. Me and Jim Fan and the Van talk a lot, but like Pittsburgh's just Pittsburgh. Like
Yeah.
they're not. Well, actually, I asked him, and he was oh geez, he's a big Pittsburgh guy. What's your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers sticking around and teams taking a flyer on him for? I don't get it.
I
Like
don't either.
I don't understand it, and like I would hate to keep talking money, but we'll talk money. They could probably pay me or you 200 grand to go and do it and get the same record. Like they're not winning anything. So whatever they're paying him, I don't understand why they don't get a kid out of college or a career backup or a journeyman or whoever to come in and see what they can do. Kenny Pickett wasn't the guy. Like he was overrated coming out of college, but
Yeah.
it's just like, is it like why people still have this fascination with a one-time Super Bowl champion who's getting up there in age by no means with Aaron Rodgers. I don't understand it. I really don't.
And Brent, the Pittsburgh Steelers are one of the more classiest organizations in all of professional sports. They've done it the right way forever.
Yeah.
And, here's a guy that is a head case. He goes to the beat of his own drum, and he proved it at the end of his Green Bay Packer history or his regime. Then he went to the Jets, and that was just a disaster. Now, I know the first year the Achilles had something to do with it, but
That's karma, Lou. That's all that
it's
was.
karma.
That was just karma.
Exactly, 100%.
That's all that was. Yeah.
What is he going to do? What's going to happen? He's 41 years old. What's going to happen in October, the 1st of November, when they're, I don't know, 5-3 or 4-4? Yeah, they could win 9-10 games, but he's not going to bring them to the Super Bowl. And to me, it just prolongs any kind of rebuild or push to get successful. And it's wasting the talent of guys like TJ Watt and somebody else, and the other defenders. And I just don't understand it either. Pittsburgh's is not a franchise that needs to put butts in the seats to be successful. They're a well-run franchise, and it's a head scratcher. I mean, I know him and Tomlin are buddies, but that's not going to win you a Super Bowl. There's no way. I think, like I said, their best bet, Brent, is maybe if Rodgers has an incredible year where he stays healthy and throws for 4,000 yards, maybe win 10 games. But then they'll get bounced in the playoffs, the first round in a wild card game. They're not better than Cincinnati. They're not better than Baltimore. I mean, so I don't get it. And I don't know. They signed, I don't know. I'm at a loss right now.
They're at a point right now, Lou, that if a 10-7 year would actually hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they stick around, go 10-7, maybe 11-6, and squeak in the playoffs, it's another year with Tomlin. They aren't doing anything. They become stagnant. And loyalty is huge, because we were just talking about there's no loyalty in sports, but now we're talking maybe with Pittsburgh, maybe it's a little bit too much. But I think if they made the playoffs so they could squeak in too many wins, Tomlin go, well, it's not my fault.
Yeah,
it's not my fault. Here's what we did. And so kind of like if they can squeak some kind of a successful quote unquote season together and still not win anything, well, what are we doing here?
I don't know. And then that's the thing. So let's say that he gets them to 9 wins, 9-8 or 10-7.
Then he could say
they're going to get the 20th pick of the draft, which is no man's land, right? And what are they going to do?
After the first 6? I think we've talked about this before, like in all sports.
100%.
If you after the top 6 or 7 in hockey, you might as well have the 15th to 20th to 30th pick. It's after that you're just grabbing names. That's 100%. All you're doing.
Yeah.
The talked about yesterday to a couple of guys about Major League expansion. I've actually been talking about this a lot with people lately, on the show and off the show, about realignment and expansion. And what's your thoughts? Like, what is your thoughts on adding a couple more teams, realignment, and on it goes? Like, what's your thoughts on the whole take when Rob Manfred brought it up during the Little League Classic out there in Williamsport 2 weeks ago? I was a little bit shocked. I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, because I don't know, because I mean, you were both got our ears to the ground about all this stuff all the time. But I was a bit stunned when I heard expansion. There's money. I get that part of it.
Yeah.
But the realignment thing, it didn't make a bunch of sense to me. What was your thoughts on it?
Oh, I agree with you. I mean, some of the realignment plans they're talking about, can you imagine the Yankees and the Mets and the Red Sox and the Phillies in the same division? I mean, what the hell is that? I honestly, I'm against expansion, although I think it's inevitable. I mean, because just for what you said, it's money. They're going to go into Nashville. They might go into Portland or wherever, or Salt Lake City.
Charlotte, I heard as well.
Charlotte, okay. So they get to 32 teams. I mean, I think it's watered down enough as it is. I mean, we just talked about it earlier in the show. We've got 5 guys batting 300 in Major League Baseball right now. And, the pitching, everybody's throwing 100 miles an hour, but they're blowing their arms out. Yeah. And I don't like expansion. There's a reason there's minor league teams, there's feeder teams. Now, granted, I don't want to go back to the original 6, but 30 teams is enough, in my opinion. And you got teams like Tampa Bay who are struggling to put butts in the seats. I mean, Oakland's been a disaster for decades. You got other towns where, it's embarrassing to watch it, So no, I I think it's inevitable, and it's all money driven. I think we'll get to 32 teams. I just hope they don't mess with the realignment more than they already have.
I hate it because just we it used to be American League, National League, and if
Yeah.
you're an American League, you're an American League. If you're a National League, you're a National League, and it was
Yeah.
weird, but it was what it was.
Yeah.
And there was a ALCS in the World Series, and now you have this, and I love, like, more baseball is always good for me, but I don't know if it's bringing more fans. I said yesterday to Nathan on the Full Count Chaos podcast there. I was like, I don't know if anybody's clamoring for more baseball. Like, and he was shocked. He asked me if I would get the cut the number of games down. I said I wouldn't, in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat, I would. I would get
Certainly.
down to 154 in a second. I get down to
Yeah.
150 if you could. Like, I think that when the weather's crappy in April, don't start till the middle of April.
Yeah.
And I also think they probably should get the playoffs going, because just this weekend, Lou, especially on Saturday, playoff or college football got going.
Yeah.
There's only this many sports fans,
Right.
right?
Right.
And then so people are already watching college football, because college football, I hate to break it to you, might be the biggest one going.
Yeah.
It's especially regional, right?
Right.
And so there's a lot of people watching. So getting down to X amount of teams, next amount of games, I think that would be the first step.
Well,
In my opinion, I could get down to 150, get down to 144. I know they'll never go for it because that's gate
no.
revenue and blah blah blah. But there's other revenue streams that they have now that they didn't have when it was 162, right? So I don't know. What's your thoughts?
Well, I got to tell you, they're starting next year. They're going to start March 26th, opening weekend, right? And that's smack dab in the middle of the NCAA Final Four.
Yep.
Or March Madness. And it's it's going to take a backseat to that. I mean, you'll have the diehards like you and I, we'll watch. And, this year's World Series is going to could potentially end in November. I mean, they don't do double headers unless they absolutely have to. It used to be every team had 7 of them, I believe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that would take care of some of it. I'm with you. I would go to 154, where you start it, the Tuesday after the Final Four, and then you end it. I don't even have a problem ending it where they end it now, but the way they stretch out the playoffs, there is no reason that they've got to stretch them out like that and put it into November. Yeah, I know you've got the extra round of playoffs. I know that's probably why. Then end the season on the 20th. But like you said, they're not going to do it. They're not going to cut down on the revenue. And, the players are still going to want the same amount of cash. They're not going to want to take the cut and pay for going back to 154 games. So I don't know what the answer is going to be on that. Brent, between you and me and the Deep Blue Sea, I just hope they're playing in 2027. With that looming, I don't even know we want to get into that right now.
And that's a spicy meatball. That is.
Oh boy.
That is one spicy meatball, because the players don't trust the owners, and the owners are saying, well, we're the owners, so this is what's going to be. And there's teams that aren't putting any money in. We talked about Pittsburgh, talked about Oakland, on and on it goes. That's going to be bad. And I think I said yesterday to Nathan on the podcast there, I said, I think that this expansion realignment thing is a look at me over here distraction that isn't going to really happen. That there's like, let's draw the attention over here on our real problems over here. Because I think that's going to be a major problem, and it's too bad, because you look at places like Detroit watching today, places full. You look at Toronto, who's rolling right now, and when the Jays are rolling, baseball's great in Canada, and they've been sold out every game for the last month and a half. So the game is still great, and the thing, that's the thing, Lou. I think that it's just it's so watered down, and there's just not enough talent for the number of teams.
No, there isn't.
So you don't have, because all the teams are in the playoff race, playoff positions right now. They're in.
Yeah.
No one's falling out. So you're not really going to have any. Sure, you might have some divisional races that might happen, but everybody who's in is in.
Yeah.
And there's not a have and have nots, but once you're not relevant, you're done.
Yeah.
And then you have so many teams who sell at the deadline and get rid of this guy, get rid of that guy, because we can pay this guy nothing for the last 80 games a season or 65 games a season. That's more of a problem to me, is that you just have teams who just mail it in for 2/3 of the season or a third of the season because they're like, well, why not?
Right.
And the Baltimores of the world who've been out since April,
Yeah.
off their bad start, they go, well, we might as well just start selling off our pieces.
Yeah.
And they're still getting not the gate revenue, but they're still getting the same TV revenue and then the hats and that. So that might be the problem. But if you cut down the number of games and you got more talent and more people and better, I don't know. It's just I don't think the game's broken. Like, I think the game is still really good.
Yeah.
But the game itself needs some tweaking, I think, in my opinion. I just
I agree. And it's gone down the path of the NBA a little bit with the expansion, with the watered down talent, because it's just incredible to watch some of those games. It's so bad, and I don't want Major League Baseball to get to that point. That's what I fear the most about expansion. And like I said, you've got teams that are so bad right now, and they have no hope. I mean, God love the Pittsburgh Pirates with their history back in the day when you and I were growing up.
yeah.
They're not even close to being relevant, and I feel bad. They're going to lose Skeens next year or whatever, and they're a struggle to win 95 games. The White Sox, the A's, there's the Rays. God bless them. I don't know how they're doing with smoke and mirrors, but now it's catching up to them, and even the Orioles. Brent, when we were growing up, the Orioles were always relevant, always
Yeah.
dominant, and they had a run there a couple of years, but now they're back to where they were, and I just hate to see the momentum that baseball has created get taken away, and I think it would with expansion.
It's a year. It would kill it. There's no Sosa McGuire coming around this time around to save
Yeah,
baseball. There's just not.
no,
If it were to take a year off, I don't know what would happen, because people have found different ways and different things to spend their entertainment dollar and to
yeah,
watch different things. Now you can stream if you want to have minor league game, a college wood bat game, an NCAA game, whatever, but you can get it. You couldn't get it back in 1994, back then when they shut it down. And so people can get their baseball fix elsewhere. And if it gets shut down for a year, I think the ramifications would be disastrous, like an
oh,
absolute disaster.
no doubt about it. And you kind of got a feel a few years ago when they were threatening the work stoppage. The average fan they weren't on the player's side anymore, and now with the price of going to ball games as high as it's getting, even in baseball, which to me is still the most affordable sport to go to,
Yeah.
they're gonna they're to your point, they're just gonna say the heck with it. We'll go watch a college wood and bat league game in the summer. We'll go watch the Traverse City Spitters, or we'll go
Yeah.
watch the Lug Nuts or the Great Lakes Loons or whatever. And Major League Baseball is going to suffer big time from it. And you know, I think there's going to be that line in the sand. You and I could talk about that for 3 hours, and I think, it's all going to come down to salary cap. That's going to be the big stumbling block. And boy, oh boy, I think it's going to be ugly. It is going to be ugly. That's why I'm enjoying it. Even if the Tigers weren't in it, I would enjoy the playoffs, and I'll be right there watching it in October for sure.
When you went, go through your day when you went to the Tigers game this year, like you like what, and I like, you just ticket price. I don't want to know how much you spent on
Oh, I
pizza and
could
hot
tell you.
dogs and stuff, but like, what was the like when you went to the game? You drove from your house, and
Yeah.
what was like how did it progress? I like hearing these stories about your game day experience and how much it all cost, and it's because everything's because you see all over Twitter, this costs this. I want to know, like, you went to a game this year, and what did it run you?
Well, we went. My brother-in-law and I went. It was a Sunday afternoon game. It was crazy because we got there. I'd say we got there about 11:30. Or about noon. It was a 1:40 first pitch.
Yeah.
Flaherty was pitching, and he pitched a hell of a game. I think he had 9 or 10 strikeouts, and we were upper deck to the right of home. So we were on the first base side of home plate, upper deck.
Yeah.
4 rows up maybe, and it was perfect because the sun went behind the stadium
Nice.
after the 3rd inning, so we weren't we weren't roasted all day. I think we paid 40. I got the tickets on SeatGeek, by the
Yep.
way, and we paid $40 a piece, and I think we paid $20 for parking. We were about, I want to say, half a mile away. It wasn't a long walk at
That's not
all.
bad.
Right down, it was downtown. We got there, and like I said, they don't do batting practice like they used to. So, but
I hate that.
yeah, I know. Just to be in that atmosphere, it cost me $1 to get a scorecard, which I laughed my ass off. And the funny thing was, Brent, is they didn't take cash, so I had to put the dollar on my debit card. But I'm like,
Oh, we
I,
we
I
had this idea at Spit Stadium to go cashless this year for a couple of days. It's a
oh
horrible idea.
oh, they're
It's
doing it in high
horrible.
school games right now for football here in Michigan, Brent, and it is a cluster. Oh, I'm hearing horror stories all over from all these from fans going to these games,
Oh,
but
it's a daps. What?
oh,
Anyways,
it is, and and but so and I think we each had an adult beverage, which
yeah,
was almost half the cost of what
the
we
ticket
paid
probably.
for the ticket, and then I switched to pop because I was driving,
Yeah.
and and but the cool thing was, and this is crazy, we get up there and there's some Chicago Cubs fans sitting around us, and this guy behind me, he flew in just for the game and then flew back to Chicago after the game. And he flew into Detroit, took an Uber. The Uber ride's about an hour probably from Metro
Really?
Detroit
Yeah,
to
I
the
guess it would be. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And yeah, we were talking. He's like, yeah, he said, and he showed me all of his itinerary because I thought he was giving whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, he's like, look, he says, you may not believe me, but he showed me his phone and he showed me his itineraries, ticket, the whole bit. Yeah, and unfortunately for him, the Tigers thumped on the Cubs,
Yeah.
but it's stuff like that, that will always get me to want to go to a game because you get to talk to different people there,
It's the best part of it.
and it was a good experience. I've never really had a bad experience at a baseball game. I've had them at football. I think football games are getting up so obnoxious right now, Brent.
There's so much testosterone for
Oh
some
my God,
reason, and
it's
guys who
terrible.
I played high school football. Right on. Nobody cares.
And so
Yeah.
it, I, I, I wouldn't mind going back. I've got so much other stuff going on right now that it's, pretty much impossible to get down there with my high school stuff and with
Yeah.
work and, college hockey starting back up in about 3 weeks. I mean, but the baseball experience to me, it still is a lot of fun. The concessions concern me because they're pricey. When you have to when you buy around a couple of beers and it's $32. You know,
Yeah.
and, you know, but the overall the atmosphere you can't beat it. We went to the single A Oakland A's single A team in Lansing, the Lugnuts game
Yeah.
earlier this year. Had an absolute blast. I mean, I, it's still as a spectator sport, it's still one of my favorite. It's my favorite to go to.
You go to a game and you just BS with the guy next to you, and when you hear the crack of the bat, that's when you pay attention. The
Yeah,
rest of it, you're looking around talking about this guy because the players they're like I until they get to Double A probably
yeah,
they're pretty interchangeable from a college team. Like you don't know unless you're a real baseball guy, but they're
right.
they're the same, right? And the
Yeah.
plays are good, and like there's guys who are really bad that he won't be around, but until guys are in Double A and Triple A, like that's when you. But the minor league baseball is so pure and it's so
Oh,
great. And like since I got involved with the Lethbridge Bulls here in WCBL, like you think, wow, they got to win. The winning doesn't matter to these friends. They just want to get people in the building and have a good time and make
yeah.
sure they're enjoying it and spend their $5 for a hot dog and $7 for a beer, whatever it might be. And
Right, right.
it's just a lot of fun to be around and watch that. Like, and you talk about sitting around talking with people and at a game. I was in Oakland. Oh, geez, this is actually 2014, the year
Okay.
Jeter retired,
Yeah.
and I went a little tour there, and I was in I went to one of the games in Oakland. I was sitting next to this wily old reporter. And this guy, I was surprised he didn't have the fedora on with the press thing in his hat. He was,
Right.
but he was just snapping pictures, talking. And I asked him, I said, just in passing, I said, what's what's one of your best moments that you've been around here? He says 1974. So I was like, okay, yeah. I said, he goes, Catfish Hunter.
Oh,
I went, okay. He goes, Catfish Hunter threw a perfect game right here. He goes, there was at least 800,000 people at that game. I said, what? I said, what? He says, because every person I've ever talked to was at that game. He said, so it's just stories like that
yeah.
you get a chance to take it all in at a baseball game, and because the game doesn't move extremely fast, and you can just
Right.
have a conversation with a guy, and like you said with that guy from Chicago, same deal. I think baseball loses that, and that's get you out of here, Lou. But like
Oh, you're all right.
the thing, like you talk about how people want to get out of a baseball game so quick, and how the banana ball, 2 hours in, out, see you later.
Yeah.
Like me, I'm like, I mean, I don't want a game to be 4 hours long.
No.
But if I'm there and the game gets a little bit long, I don't want bad baseball, because the only thing worse than slow baseball is bad baseball.
Yes.
But if a game takes a little bit of time, I'm in the sun having a dog and a beer, and I'm
Yeah.
okay. I'm fine. And I think that in general, people are as well. Like the majority of people who go to baseball games are as well. And if you have some kid who's 20 years old who doesn't like it, oh well, why are we changing it?
Yeah.
Why are they changing baseball just for that one demographic? And
Uh,
that's what I don't understand, because that demographic generally doesn't have a bunch of money.
no.
So that's what I don't understand, why they feel the need to change the game so much. I enjoy the speed up rules. I get it was getting like
Yeah.
the Garcia Parra stuff. I being out of the box for half an hour.
Right.
So I get that, but the game isn't broken.
No.
So why they're changing it so much for everything else is a bit of a mystery for me. I don't understand that.
You know, I'm with you. I've warmed up to the pitch clock rule. I think it was good.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I agree. You know, these 4 hour and 15 minute, 9 minute, 9 inning games, they lost a lot of people. But it's a society now, Brent, where there is just there is I don't know how to say it the right way, but there's just everybody instant gratification. I think
yeah,
and you don't want to. It goes back to what you and I are talking about with the style of the game. The small ball's gone. I mean, it's the long ball for the most part, and strikeouts, are more acceptable. But I worry about the game of baseball after 2026 because I
yeah.
do think the momentum is back. I think it's up. The attendance is up. The interest is up. It just reminds me so much of '94 when I thought the momentum was up, and one of my favorite teams got I don't know, they got gypped by, for lack of a better word, the Montreal Expos when they had the best team in baseball, and then the strike came and wiped it
That was
out.
the end of them.
Oh, so I just hope it's not down that road. But it's I just I'm like you. I love to hear the stories. I love to talk to the old guard about it, and just that's the atmosphere that they have that the other sports just don't have. Not during the game.
You're around like high school hockey, college hockey, and everything else. You're around those kids a lot, and you talk to
Yeah.
them, and like not, I don't know, a whole bunch. Like I'm around the college guys,
Yeah.
college baseball guys. Do they watch? Like do those guys like? I know my answer. Do your guys that you talk to, do they watch hockey? Do they watch baseball? Are they fantasy sports guys? That's why they watch. Like what's out there in Michigan with the kids that you talk to? I call them kids. Obviously they're
Well, yeah.
18, 17 years old, but like what do they watch a lot?
Oh, they watch. The college hockey kids watch hockey. A lot of them do.
Yeah,
And a lot of them are into football, but they're all into fantasy football. It's just incredible, and they. I don't know about baseball as much. I think some of them are. A lot of them, though, I'll tell you that with Aquinas, when I did their games, a lot of them played baseball in high school.
yeah.
Until they started playing juniors in hockey, then that kind of went away. And at Aquinas, Brent, a half a dozen of the hockey players were on the golf team. And so,
That makes sense, actually.
you know,
Yeah.
and so one of them actually was an assistant golf coach because he still had eligibility to play hockey. So, I mean, it's interesting that's the other thing I like about covering college sports, especially hockey, is these kids come from all over the world
Mhm.
and the different stories that they bring with them. And another time when you and I are together on here, we could talk about how that lifestyle is with college hockey, the juniors, and where they travel from. And it's it's just a whole different world. And I think baseball kind of is that way. What you talk about with your summer league that you're a part of, and some of these kids in the minors that come from all over the world now to
Yeah.
play here in Lansing for a short period of time. They stay in sponsor houses, if you will, with sponsor parents and
Yeah.
whatnot. And it's just so fascinating. And that's another facet of baseball that I like, listening to how these kids come up to the majors, because they're not like pro football where they get the now the $1 million contracts in college go right to the pros. These kids are going to minor leagues making what, 2,000 a month, maybe,
If that.
if that.
If that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy.
It is nuts. Yeah, no, it's like the stories are great, and the purity of sports when it gets down
Yeah,
like down to that lower level, right? And like I said, like if other than the bright lights of the stadium, the game doesn't change a whole bunch,
no,
right? Like obviously stadiums are bigger and you're playing in front of more people, but like when you're balls and strikes and outs and saves and whatever, it's the same thing no matter what level you're
still got to
watching.
hit a curveball, eh?
And every game has that one play. In fact, there was one game this year at Spitz that one of our guys, he hit a moonshot that you thought was, but then it was higher than it was farther, and then it was going over the fence. And this kid jumped over and he pulled it back. And one of the players in the press box with me, and he goes, "That is the best catch I've ever seen in my life." Like it was just one of those moments, and everybody's like, "Holy cow!" Like just so those can happen at any time in all these minor league parks right across the country. So it's a lot of
Yeah,
fun. Lou, get you out of here. I got one more question for you though.
yeah.
Who's the two teams going to the World Series, and who's going to win it all, man?
I had a feeling you were going to ask me that. I'm going to give you a homer pick. I'm
You
going to
could be a
give you a
homer.
homer pick. I'm going
Be
to
a
go.
homer.
I'm going to go with the Tigers over the Yankees in the ALCS. I think the Tigers will win it in 7. And oh wow, I'm going to still go with the Phillies over the Dodgers to get to the World Series.
Schwarber
And
time. Having a year. Wow.
I think it's going to be. I think the Phillies beat the Tigers in 6.
I got the Padres over the Dodgers.
Okay.
And then I hate to say it because I just hate them so much. The Astros, because I forgive them, but I'll never forget the Astros over the Tigers.
Yeah.
Because I just don't, I just that they just play so well. And I just don't think the Yankees are good enough. But the San Diego Padres are going to win themselves with those fabulous pinstripe uniforms. The San Diego Padres are going to win themselves a World Series, one way or another. I just eventually have to. Well, they don't have to. I mean, there's lots of teams
Yeah.
that don't. But yeah, it's interesting. I think it's up for grabs. I don't think there's a clear cut favorite.
100%.
Like for how many years did we say the Dodgers were going to be the team, and then they finally pulled one off last year? I know they had
Yeah.
that one 2020
Wow.
three-quarter World Series, but yeah, I just it's so wide open, and there's no clear cut favorite when it comes to the teams you're in. Detroit's got a chance with Scooble. They got a heck of a chance, and Hinch pulling the strings there. I think they have a real shot. For you, Lou, I hope they do. I
Well,
really do. I really hope that they can pull it off. And for the great fans of Detroit, it's been a lot of lean years.
well, I
Although I
think
don't feel that bad. What's that? Just a long time ago now, Lou. All of a sudden, too, it's been a few years since the Red Wings have won
oh my God.
a Stanley Cup, because you got so used to them being relevant and
Yeah.
players wanting to go there no matter what and just looking to win themselves a Stanley Cup. That's a long time ago now. All of a
Boy,
sudden.
oh boy. Yeah, it's been 17 years it'll be next year, that Detroit hasn't won the cup, and it's been 9, I think, since they've gone to the playoffs. And getting back to baseball, the reason I say that the Yankees have a shot is, and you just brought up a great point. It's whoever gets hot towards the end of the year, it's so wide open. And the sticks that the Yankees got, I mean, I look at, with the Tigers and Mets series this week, and then they go to the Bronx. I mean, the pitching, nobody's got, besides a couple of starters, maybe nobody's got standout pitching either. And so
No.
I think that's why it's wide open.
No, because all you got to do is outlast the other team to the fifth inning.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
If you get to the fifth inning with nothing marked, then, but always a but. If you start giving the ball to 2, 3, and 4 guys, one of them is bound to screw up.
Yes.
Because that's what human beings do.
Yeah.
If you start including more human beings, Lou, it gets screwed out no matter what. So if you got to get length out of your starter. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't because I was talking to someone this other day. Actually, was a college baseball coach, and he disagreed with me vehemently. I said, I don't care if that guy blows his arm out. He's going to blow his arm out eventually. Throw him. Let him go 6, 7. I don't care if he blows his arm out today or next Tuesday. I don't care because it's going to happen anyways. I want, like this talking Major League Baseball. Like, if I want wins, especially in the playoff time. Let him go.
Yeah.
We have such a short window to win.
That's why they're there, to win the World Series.
To win, especially in the playoffs. You throw this guy 7. You're not saving him for spring next year.
Yes.
You want to win now because winning's hard.
Why? I'll go to that. I'll go to my grave with that mentality. I mean, I'll never forget 2009 when Jim Leland pulled the whole infield of Detroit with a 3-game lead with 3 to go to win the division, and he said, "Well, they needed a blow. We're saving them for the playoffs." I'm like, "You jackass!" And then when he pulled Scherzer in 2013 before they gave up the grand slam against Boston, I mean, okay, here we go, and it's like I still see that grand slam, in my sleep by Big Poppy.
Guys,
who was it? Falling over ass backwards into the bullpen. I see that in my sleep, Brent. It's just, we would have went up 2-0 on the road against Boston. Oh,
I say this all the time to coaches and people around baseball. It's really hard to win the World Series if you're not in it. So use your best. Use your best no matter what. Then next man up. Like,
you know what?
If you aren't in the championship game, you can't win it.
That's a great point, Brent. I don't mean to drag this out, but I cover high school football. There's a team that I do play-by-play for right now, and they're good. And they've been knocking on the door for how many years? They've got 20 seniors that are going to, there's 11 on offense, 11 on defense. 20 of them are seniors that are starting. And he said, "You know what? Yeah, I know we got juniors on the team. They're blessed to have a lot of kids." He said, "But I need the best players that give me the best chance to win this year." And it's like, amen. You can't play for 2027. You can't do that anymore.
Kid might move. Kid might quit.
Level.
Kid might, whatever.
Right. Oh, boy.
I don't understand it, Lou. No, Lou, this is a great conversation as always, man. I love getting on with you. We'll have to do it again. Like I said, my wife's out in Greece for a couple more weeks, so I got a little more free time in my hands for the next couple of weeks. And I think when she gets back, I'll have 0 free time in my hands. But it's one of those things. So we'll have to get together next couple of weeks for sure and talk and get closer to the playoffs starting. But Lou, tell me about the Captain Lou experience and what you got going on there, man.
Well, we're on the Captain Lou Extravaganzas on Wednesday nights on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. We also do we call them our extravagant few minute shows where we're on about 12 to 15 minutes. At least during the summer it was a little bit lighter because really all there was baseball to talk about. Now we've got football cranking up and then college hockey and NHL and everything. So it's going to be more of a daily thing. It's on YouTube, Captain Lou Sports Network. We invite you to subscribe to it, and we got a lot of great content. And then starting back up September 17th, I believe it is. It's a Tuesday. Our 10th year of doing the ACHA Power Play. It's the American Collegiate Hockey Association, technically club hockey here in the United States, but there's 500 teams in it, 5 divisions. There's some Canadian teams as well. The Sioux College women's team, by the way, is the top women's team, really, in my opinion, in the country in women's college hockey. So that's always fun. We get a lot of great coaches and players on there, and that's going to be each week Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern time. So
It's a great show.
oh, it is. It's growing, and so is the ACHA, the awareness of it, and yeah, I mean, just
I almost ended up in that league back in 1993 with Iowa State Cyclones.
okay,
Yeah, that's a long time ago, and
yeah,
I think it was gonna cost me $700,000 Canadian, not that much, but you know what I mean.
oh
Back to
yeah,
the dollar, they go, holy Jesus, yeah. But yeah,
it
no, it's the hockey's really good. They're really good, and they're kids that might move on to something else, and it's great. And to talk like women's hockey, how much it's improved just in the
oh my
last
gosh,
20 years,
oh
10 years. It's
in
crazy.
10 years is right. It's I had the blessing to call the Division 1 for the ACHA Women's Championship game last year. Went to
Yep.
double overtime, and Liberty College or Liberty University, they're a powerhouse. They won, and then Sioux College won in Division 2. They've won 3 straight. Now I think they're bumping up to D1, but it's such a solid product now. And the women's, especially on the women's side, Brent, a lot of them are starting to go play professionally
Yep.
overseas, and which is nice. And
And the PWHL here in
yeah,
North America too. Yeah, it's great. It's great.
yep, for sure.
No, it's fun. Lou, this is a lot of fun. We'll do it
Thank you.
again. And good luck to your Tigers. And
All right.
yeah, there we go. The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, for beer sports talk and a whole lot more. Remember, everybody, it doesn't matter where you are. It's who you're with. Have a great day, and we will talk to you later on. Thanks, Lou.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure as always, Brent.
Thanks for tuning into the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. For beer and sports talk and a whole lot more, brought to you by SeatGeek. Go to bellyupsports.com for the best of sports articles and podcasts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel or wherever it is you get your podcast. Let's get